I got my first client for my AI agency about 3 weeks ago, and I did it by running Facebook ads. In this video, I'm going to talk about my journey so far and how I was able to get my first client. So if that interests you, keep on watching this video. Overwhelmed by options. So if you're watching this video, you're probably in a similar situation that I was in, which is that you've heard about all these people having AI agencies making tons of money online, and you decided, okay, I'm going to go down this path and I'm going to build an AI agency. And of course, in the beginning, the most important thing is how do you get customers? How do you get your clients? And so you've also watched all the videos on how to do that, and you've come to the conclusion that there's maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 ways to get clients. And those are cold outreach, warm outreach, creating content, running ads, or applying to jobs on freelancing platforms like Upwork. So I was in that same boat, and what I was trying to do is I was trying to do all of those things at the same time. And you can imagine that when you divide your attention among so many different things, you don't really get that much done. And the reason I was doing all these different methods is because I wasn't sure which one would work. And to make things worse, not only do you have all these possibilities on how you're going to get clients, but then there's the question, which is even more important, which is what exactly are you going to offer? What is your service going to be? When you have these ambiguities in your business, when you have this vagueness, you don't know exactly what you're going to do, you're not going to get anything done. The breakthrough. The breakthrough that I had recently was that I decided to go all in on one specific offer, and that is AI voice agents. So prior to this, I kind of had this vague idea that I would do automations. Like I was thinking of myself as an AI automation agency. So this comes from using tools like N8N, and the idea is that you're going to contact businesses and help them save time and money by building automations. That was the kind of content I had been seeing on YouTube, a lot of people supposedly making tons of money from that, so I was like, okay, let me do that. But then I guess I went down a different rabbit hole of YouTube, and I found out about the AI voice agency model. And as I spent more time learning about these different models, I started to realize that the voice agent approach really is the most concrete and tangible solution that exists today. Because it's very easy for you to go to a business owner and explain to them how these AI voice agents work, and they will understand it instantly because it's very simple. For example, you can tell a restaurant owner that's getting tons of phone calls every single day, but he can't answer them all, that I'll install this AI voice agent that's going to answer all your phone calls, integrate into your POS so that you can accept orders, and all of that happens magically so you don't have to worry about it. That's something that's very easy to understand. Whereas when you go to a business owner and say, hey, I'm going to make some automations for you, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? How is that going to improve my business? So that was the first breakthrough, was deciding to go all in on one specific offer, which in this case was voice agents. The second breakthrough was using ads, specifically Facebook ads, as my client acquisition approach. For my first ever ad campaign on Facebook, I made it extremely simple. I just used image ads, which I'm going to show on screen. And I was actually targeting real estate agents in these ads. And as you can see from the ads, I mean, this is absolute bare bones, the most basic thing imaginable. But the reason I did it is because I believe in getting things done and perfecting them later. I'm what you call an anti-perfectionist. For me, the most important thing is it done? Is it published? And I don't honestly care that much about the quality of the initial output because I can just iterate on it and get better every single time. Same thing applies with these videos. Like this video I'm making now, it's probably not very good, but once I make 100 more of them, they're gonna get a lot better by the end of it. Anyway, so I launched my first ad campaign with these very basic image ads, and I set up a funnel using Go High Level, and to my surprise, the ads get a lot of impressions, or at least to me it seems like a lot. I ran the ad for 3 days, and it got 10,000 impressions, and my site had 3,000 visits to it. So I don't know, honestly, anything about these numbers. So I'm a complete newbie, a complete novice to running ads. So I don't know what is a good ad campaign versus a bad one. But for me, as somebody who's just starting out, just seeing the fact that 3,000 people went to my funnel was very exciting, especially knowing the fact that I was only spending $25 a day, which is the minimum you can spend on Facebook. So I had people going to my webpage, seeing my little VSL that I made, and it was very exciting, but nobody actually booked an appointment. So in the end, I let my ad run for 3 days. So I spent like 75 bucks total, and then I went back to the drawing board. And then the next thing I ended up doing actually was I didn't run another Facebook ad. I changed my approach. I was like, okay, let me try doing cold email outreach. So I spent like 150 bucks on a lead scraper to get me a list of emails of real estate agents. And then I ran an email campaign and I got pretty much no results. So again, I was back at the drawing board figuring out what to do next. And what ended up happening was that I had this kind of mindset shift, which I'm going to talk about later in the video. But basically, I decided to go all in on Facebook ads, and I did a second campaign. And on this second campaign, I tried to make it a bit better than the first one. So this time, instead of using image ads, I started using video ads, and I used AI-generated video ads. Because I had seen all these videos about people making AI videos and how realistic they looked. So I was like, okay, let me hop on that wave and do the same thing, but use that for my ads. So my thinking was, and it's not very sophisticated, but I was like, okay, if I can get an AI video of an attractive woman selling my service, then maybe I have a chance of getting some clients from that. So I created some AI avatars. I just asked ChatGPT to make me a picture of a woman, and that's gonna be my spokesperson. And then I ended up using this tool called HeyGen, which makes AI videos. All you have to do is upload a picture of your avatar. So I just plugged in the picture of my AI avatar, I put in the script I wrote, and I had my first AI-generated ad. And then to take it a step further, I was like, okay, let me make some variations. So I ended up deciding to do one of my AI avatars would be a blonde, the other would be a redhead, and the last one would be a brunette. And I was going to run this campaign and see which one of these performed the best. So I launched my campaign. This is my second ever Facebook ads campaign. I do the same thing of spending the minimum of $25 a day. And I launched it, and I'm convinced that this is going to be an incredible success. And the first 24 hours go by, and I'm checking my phone constantly, trying to see okay, all the leads coming in, and I had no results first 24 hours. Next day rolls around, same thing, I'm checking my phone constantly, again, no results. And then finally, on the third day, after I do my morning work and I go to my day job, I'm at the office just doing my work, and I check my phone and I see a notification, and I can't believe my eyes because it's a notification saying that somebody booked an appointment in my calendar. The to-call close. So I had this person who booked an appointment in my calendar, and I think I had about maybe 2 or 3 days notice. So that was the time I had to prepare for this first ever meeting. And honestly, I didn't do that much preparation for it. At least I can't really remember exactly what I did. My main thing going into it was I just want to sell them on the idea of the AI voice agent. And I'm gonna do that by asking a bunch of discovery questions, try to understand their business, what their pain points are, and then kind of make them realize that AI voice agents will help them grow their business. But to my surprise, when I got on that call, the person was actually pretty much already convinced that AI voice agents are the right solution for them. They just wanted to know what was different about me and how I can actually provide the solution for them. And so I kind of had to adjust my approach there. And there was a few times where I kept on trying to ask these discovery questions, but the person I was on the call with just shut me down completely and just wanted to get straight to the point. So I kind of fumbled my way through answering those questions that she had. And in the end, I think the thing that really convinced her was that I had a video demo of me actually testing one of the AI callers that I had built. And when I sent her that video on the call and she watched it and she saw that this thing actually works, then I could literally see in the call, her face change from okay, this person actually has the solution. So that's my advice to anybody who's watching this is have these demo videos recorded of you actually testing your own AI caller, because you can send those to your prospects and that gives you so much more trust and confidence that you are actually a person who knows what they're talking about. So what I ended up doing was, instead of trying to close them on that first call, I said, okay, I'm gonna build you an AI caller specifically for your business based on all the information that you've given me on this call. I'm gonna build this AI caller, and then on a second call we're gonna have in 1 week, you will actually get to test this caller that I built for you live. We're gonna hop on the call and you're gonna ask it questions and we're gonna see how it performs. She agreed to this arrangement and we ended the call, and then I had 1 week to build out this caller for her. So I spend the next week working on this AI caller. I build it out, I test it 1,000,000 times because I wanna make sure that the demo goes well. We end up having the call, we do the test, she speaks to the AI, and to my surprise, honestly, I was a little bit surprised, it worked flawlessly. I had set up the caller so that it books an appointment into a calendar, and it actually worked. During the demo, she was able to talk to the AI, choose a time slot, and actually book an appointment. So after that demo was successful, she gave me a bunch of feedback on all the things she wants to change and adjust in the caller. I was like, cool, sounds good. And I went in for the close. I sent her a payment link and she paid on the call. And that for me was probably one of the best moments of my life so far, honestly, because I've been on this journey for a long time now. And for me to be able to execute on an idea I had, a vision, which is I'm gonna have an AI agency, I'm gonna have clients, I'm gonna build a business, to finally actually start to bring that to life is an amazing feeling. And also, for context, this AI agency thing, I only made the decision to do this about 2 months ago. But my journey in entrepreneurship really started 3 years ago. So it's kind of funny how you can spend years working on something and it doesn't feel like you're making progress. And then you just change one thing, you make one decision, and then in a short period of time, you make tons of progress. It's something to keep in mind as we all go through this journey. It's the fact that even though it feels like you're not making progress sometimes, at the end of the day, as long as you're developing skills and getting more experience, you're moving forward in life and you're getting closer to your goals. The reason I'm making this video, I decided to make this video for 2 reasons. First off, I just want to document my journey because this is what I'm going to do for a very long time. And I want to document it so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I can look back on these videos and see exactly how I progressed, how I evolved over time. And the second reason is that I want to share my mistakes, my lessons that I've learned with you guys so that you don't have to repeat the same mistakes as me. So in this part of the video, I want to explain what exactly changed in me, in my behavior, that allowed me to get my first client. And I would say that there's 3 things that really contributed to this. First, the go to zero mentality. Second, absolute routine consistency. And number 3, sacrifice. All right, so to explain this concept of going to zero, I want to use an analogy, which I'm going to call the gas tank analogy. So you know how you drive your car, you have gas in the tank, and the more you drive the car, you use the gas, and eventually you get down to empty and you refuel, right? You put in more gas in the car. And the way you do it is that you keep on using the car until that indicator goes on that says that you're about to be empty, right? You use all the gas in your gas tank. Now imagine somebody else. Imagine somebody who fills up their gas tank, they use their car, and then once they've used 1/4 of their gas tank, they see that the indicator is at 3/4. They get scared, they get paranoid that they're gonna go on a really long drive and run out of gas. So because that person is scared he's gonna run out of gas, he goes back to the gas station and he fuels back up to 100%. That person, you would agree, is crazy. Why would you use only 1/4 of the capacity of your tank when you have 3/4 left? Why would you keep on refueling when you haven't used the full capacity of your tank? Well, the same thing applies to money. Money is stored energy, it's potential energy. And a lot of people have this attitude towards money of holding on to it and being afraid to spend it. So maybe you have some of your savings, some of your income that you are using towards your business, but you're not using all of it because you're afraid. You're afraid of going to zero. You're afraid of using your full capacity. And so you end up only using 1/4 of what you actually have available. Now, I want you to think about how difficult starting a business is, how much energy it requires. Do you really think that you can have success and kind of get this rocket ship to launch by only using 1/4 of your capacity? No, it takes absolutely everything you have. So the reason I'm saying this is because I've adopted this mentality of going to zero. I am literally willing to go down to $0 in my bank account. I will spend every last dollar I have to invest into my business, to get it to grow, because I know that that's the only way. I know how difficult it is to get this rocket ship to launch. So I'm willing to put every last dollar I have into it. And in this case, the reason I bring it up is because I had this fear of spending money on ads. And it was only once I overcame this fear and I became willing to go down to zero, to literally spend every last dollar I have on ads, on Facebook ads, I said to myself, I will spend every last dollar on Facebook, on this Facebook ad campaign if that's what it takes. And as soon as I had that mindset shift, I launched this campaign and it got me my first client. And the cool thing was I didn't even have to go to zero. I just had to adopt that mindset of being willing to spend all my money on this. And another thing I'll say is that a big part of the reason I was able to have that mindset shift and actually go to zero is because I got clarity on my finances. You see, the issue that I was having was that I felt like I didn't really know exactly how much money I have. And the reason why is because if you're like me or like any other adult, you have a credit card, you have bills, you have subscriptions that you're spending money on. And the thing is, when you have all this money being spent, especially with a credit card, then the number in your bank account doesn't actually tell you how much money you have because you have to subtract all the balance that's due on your credit card from that. But then what if you have multiple credit cards? And then what if you have multiple subscriptions? Like, things get complicated. So that was my situation, and I felt like I didn't know exactly how much money I had. And even though I am willing to go to zero, I'm not willing to go negative. And so how can I know exactly what the 0 point is if I don't know how much money I have? So one weekend I sat down, I looked through all of my different financial accounts, I did the math, I looked at every single transaction, and I found out exactly how much money I have to spend on my business. And once I had that number, once I knew the exact amount, then I felt comfortable actually going to zero and spending all of that money. So that's my recommendation to you. If you are willing to adopt this philosophy of going to zero, take some time to sit down, look at your financials, and get the exact amount of money you can spend to get to that 0 point. Don't go over, don't go negative. That's not what I'm saying. But just get financial clarity so you know what is the limit you have to stop at. Absolute routine consistency. The second change that I made in my life is that I simplified my routine and I began to stick to it without fail every single day. So to give you some context, before I had a sort of weekly routine. So to give you an example, I would go to the gym maybe on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week, right? So it's a routine, it's consistent, but it's consistent on a weekly basis. The change that I made here was I stopped doing a weekly routine and rather doing a daily routine where every single day of my life is identical or as close as possible to identical. Now, in my current circumstance, I can't make every single day identical because I still have a 9-to-5 job. So my weekends are different, but I'm doing everything in my power to make every day as similar as possible. So that means, for example, even on the weekends, I still wake up at the exact same time, go to bed at the exact same time. I still follow the same morning routine to a T. I just do everything I can to make every single day identical. Now, to give you some practical advice on how I did this, let's go back to the gym example. I actually stopped going to a gym that I have to drive to, and rather now I just go to the gym in my building. So instead of having to do like a 10-minute drive to go to the gym, now it's like a 2-minute walk to go downstairs and go to the gym. And the other thing is, now I go to the gym every single day, and I go at the same time for the same duration. I don't do the same workout, I cycle through workouts, but the point is I go every single day and I don't have to think at all about it. I literally have an alarm that goes off, I go downstairs, do my workout for 30 minutes, and then I come back up. I've simplified my life. And of course, I realize that I'm not gonna make as much progress in the gym as I would like. What I'm doing is I'm setting my priorities straight. Right now, the one singular priority I have in my life is to grow my business. That means that other things are gonna take a hit. I'm not gonna make as much progress in them. And the other thing that's really helped me with this routine consistency is really developing my meal prepping skills. I finally reached the point now with meal prepping that I have a really well-defined system. I know exactly what I'm gonna make every weekend. It lasts me the entire week. It tastes good, I have enough variety. I've been meal prepping for like almost a year now, but it's only recently where I finally got all my systems dialed in that now I don't have to think as much and I've streamlined the whole process. Now I'm finally at the point where I have all of my food ready for the whole week and all I have to do is pull it out of the fridge and microwave it and it's good to go. Sacrifice. The final mindset change that I had recently was that now I truly understand what it means to sacrifice. And there's this phrase that I've been kind of saying to myself, which is that it's not sacrifice unless it really hurts. Unless it actually hurts your heart to think about the thing that you're giving up. Because it's one thing to sort of prioritize and to say, okay, this is the most important thing in my life, but I also will make some time for these other things. Whereas I feel like sacrifice is when you say no, an absolute no to something that you really want. And obviously you do it because you're directing all of your attention to one single thing. And literally anything else that is not that one thing is a distraction and you have to say no to it. This is the philosophy that I've kind of adopted in these last couple months. And based on the results I've gotten so far, I'm very convinced that this is the right way to go. Now, you don't have to sacrifice something for your entire life. You can do it for a season. So in my case, I know that currently I'm in a season where I am sacrificing everything for the sake of growing my business. And a big part of the reason that I am able to do this, to live this way, is because I actually have conviction. I have absolute certainty that I'm on the right path. I think that if you have any kind of uncertainty or doubt, or if you lack clarity and don't know exactly what to do, it's going to be very hard to get this level of focus. But I've reached the point now where I have enough experience and enough knowledge that I know exactly what I have to do to get results. Like there's no question in my mind, there's no ambiguity. There's no like big fundamental questions I'm dealing with. I know the exact steps I need to follow to get the results I want to get. So now it's just a matter of executing on that. And the only way I got to this point was by doing a lot of exploration, trying a whole bunch of different business models, business ideas, and failing at all of them, to now get to the point where I've learned enough that I have clarity. And clarity is so important. Clarity is the thing that allows you to move with conviction. So if you're in a similar situation to what I was, where you've tried a whole bunch of different things, a whole bunch of different businesses that have failed, maybe start to ask yourself if you're ready to commit to one single thing for an extended period of time. Because I think that if you do that, you will start to get very good results. Next steps for me. What are my next steps? A lesson that I learned when I was running my video editing agency is that when you start to have success, when you start to make progress in the business, what you have to do is you actually have to double down on the thing that started to get you momentum. The mistake that I made in my video editing agency was that once I started to get clients, I got overwhelmed because this was all very new to me. I had never done this before. And so what I said to myself was, okay, let me pump the brakes a bit. Let me take it easy and just focus on delivering a good service to the clients I have now. I'm not going to try to get more clients. I'm just going to kind of try to stay at this level and maintain. But what I ended up learning was that that is a terrible mistake if your goal is to be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur. And the reason why it's a terrible mistake is because momentum is extremely hard to get. So when you finally do get it, you have to hold on to dear life. You have to make sure you do not lose your momentum. And the way you do that is by continuing to push forward, despite the fact that you're entering uncharted territory. Despite the fact that you're doing things you've never done before, you don't know what is exactly the correct way to do them, you have to keep on pushing forward, keep on maintaining your momentum, and actually not only just maintain, but rather accelerate. So it's like this terrifying feeling of accelerating down a road, but you don't know what's around the next corner, but you still have to accelerate. Like that was my main takeaway. So to kind of bring it back to reality, what does that mean for my business right now? That means that even though I now have an obligation to my current client to deliver my service, which I'm doing, what I need to do is while I'm delivering this service to this client, I still at the same time have to get more clients. I still have to grow the business. I have to maintain the momentum that I'm building. And that is an uncomfortable feeling, obviously, but I would much rather go through that period of discomfort so that I can get this rocket ship to rise up and break out of the pull of gravity. And it really is like a rocket ship because it takes a tremendous amount of energy to get it off the ground, and it has to keep on pushing and pushing until it finally gets high enough that it can break free from the pull of gravity. So that's what my next steps are. It is to double down on everything I did to get to this point, keep on pushing, deliver a great service to my client, and at the same time get more clients. Thank you for watching.